All right, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is having a fabulous Monday. I know I haven't been here for a while because, gosh, July was just extremely busy. And as you can tell, I'm not in my home office right now. I am actually at a conference in Louisville, Kentucky. It's called NCSL, the National Conference of State Legislators, and that's where I'm at today. I don't have a coffee cup either. I haven't gotten down to get coffee yet, just coming to you remotely. Last week, you might know, you might not know, but last week my daughter actually got married. They've been dating for 3.5 years and finally got married. It was a destination wedding in Colorado, just outside Colorado Springs in Crested Butte. And the pictures were amazing and things were wonderful. So I did not have my Facebook Live last Monday, the last Monday in July, because I was traveling to Colorado for her wedding. And the week before that, I had a scheduling conflict. So we're about 2 weeks behind. The end of July is gone, over, done with. August is here already. The last month, technically, of the summer, couple weeks before kids go back to school. I can't tell you where the summer went. It's just flying by, just completely flying by. And so a couple of updates. I'll give you a couple updates and send you on your way. And then I have to go to the conference to talk about what are we doing at a conference. Well, yesterday I was here and we talked about military families. So we have part of a task force with regards to veterans and military families with NCSL. And what we did was it's a roundtable discussion of other state legislators, senators, reps, some staff people from different states throughout the nation. So, like Nevada, South Dakota, Indiana, you name them. There are quite a few states represented in that task force. So, all day yesterday was, excuse me, a task force meeting talking about important things. Mainly, we had a great presentation about transitions, how to transition independent individuals from active duty military to veterans status in the States. And what we've been finding, what we've been working on, I've been working on for several years, is that there is no in-state transition services for folks that are coming right out of the military. We've been talking about this for a couple years now with the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. Haven't quite gotten a program off the ground yet, so I'm still working on that. Still working on that. Talked about veterans courts, the unique situation that veterans find themselves in. Some situations would be, you know, they drink too much. Some veterans and some individuals, to be quite honest, try to self-medicate and deal with their problems without professional help. So that does happen with veterans as well. And then we talked about veteran suicide, of course. The number's been going down, to be quite honest. So it used to be 22 a day. We've got a report that says it's now 13 a day. So going down, still not to zero, but making some strides with regards to that as well. Of course, suicide doesn't only affect veterans, it affects individuals as well. So whenever there's a life change, it doesn't hurt to talk to somebody whenever there's a life change, something changes, kids move out. Like my daughter got married, life change. I'm getting old. I'm now a mother-in-law. So life change, whenever there's life change, it doesn't hurt to just having checkup, mental health checkup overall. But talking about that, and then also I'm part of what's called the Women's Legislators Network here at NCSL. It's a group of you can probably figure out women legislators, and we talked a lot about different nuances with regards to women legislators and great group of individuals, and they do have a leadership board, and I've been nominated to be the vice president of this women's legislator network with NCSL. So So that is on my plate. It's always busy, always busy. Can't complain. So my apologies, I haven't been here for a couple weeks, but we're coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky, for the NCSL conference. So one of the things that I want to touch on that is really a great story is is my generation. It's the Bears, we back in the day, we all watched the Bears. They did the Super Bowl shuffle and back in the day. So really great individuals with regards to football. And so in Homer Glen, in Homer Glen, Steve McMichael was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He lives in Homer Glen, and Steve McMichael, and his wife, Misty McMichael, uh, unveils a bust, I guess, a bust of young Steve as a football player, and he is now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Mongo, if you call, is kind of his nickname that he went through. And it's bittersweet. And uh McMichael had 92.5 sacks, two first team All Pro selections, and one Super Bowl champion with the Bears. And now he has a spot on the Hall of Fame. And why does it makes this special? Um, well, he's one of the individuals that has the neurodegenerative disease called ALS. And he first felt tinglings 7 years ago. And now he can only blink his eyelids once for yes, twice for no. And so sometimes ALS gets you very fast in a mere months after diagnosis. Other times you can have it for years, like physicist Stephen Hawkins, who famously lived 55 years after being diagnosed with ALS at 21. McMichael is incapacitated, and every day of living is a blessing. So it was really sweet. They were able to remotely zoom in the presentation to the Football Hall of Fame ceremony that was in Canton, Ohio on Saturday, August 3rd. And they did even put on the yellow Hall of Fame jacket. So he was wearing the jacket. He was surrounded by his old teammates. And again, they patched in the video to Ohio. You notice that Mongo is wearing the gold jacket all Hall members get, and had some teammates with him. Michael Singletary, Jim Covert, and Richard Dent, they were wearing them as well. And so Hall of Famer Dan Hampton leaned over to McMichael and said, "Welcome home, Steve. You're in football heaven." And so they have a bronze head, a bust that with hair flowing. The sculpture is the likeness of the young man in full glory with a slight smile that can read great confidence or cosmic chuckle. And so definitely, former Bears player Gary Frentic, Ron Rivera, Emery Moorhead, Jim Morrissey, Tom Thayer, Trace Armstrong, Tyrone Keys, Jim Osborne, and others were there. And they're all family. So we just want to extend, I just want to extend congratulations to Steve for being inducted, Mongo for being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, way to go, Mongo. Uh, it's really, really a great honor that he was able to get that. And really, really, words can't describe, I'm sure, um, just the really honor it is to get that. So congratulations to him. What else is going on? I'm going to do a quick rundown of what's going on in the area. National Night Out is August 6th. As you know, I am here in Louisville, Kentucky with NCSL conference, and I'm not available to be out and about on National Night Out. As you would know, I would go to as many as I could. I think I clocked out as the top number is about 8 National Night Out events. So unfortunately, I will miss them. There are in Aurora 27 neighborhood parties. So go to the official City of Aurora website and find out the one near you. Of course, Naperville has a National Night Out kickoff beginning at 6:30 p.m. Today, Monday, outside the Fry Family YMCA. And then on Tuesday, August 6th, again, there are simultaneously dozens of neighborhoods throughout Naperville for National Night Out, and you can go to the City of Naperville's website for that. Oswego Village Police will be from 5 to 8 at Prairie Point Park, and then Montgomery Police Department will visit various locations throughout the community. So if you live in Oswego or Montgomery, again, please look to their websites for National Night Out. National Night Out is about community policing awareness raising event in the United States. It is held the first Tuesday of August of every year. So post your pictures and have a great time at your National Night Out. August 7th, believe it or not, is Purple Heart Day. It's celebrated every year on, as I said, August 7th. And he looks at the recipients of the Purple Heart. It is the oldest American military decoration awarded for military merit. The Purple Heart is awarded to members of the U.S. Armed Forces who have been wounded or killed as a result of enemy action in the line of duty. There have been 1.8 million Purple Hearts awarded. And again, I have to give a shout out to our treasurer, Michael Frerichs, for his initiative. Whereas if there's a Purple Heart that got left behind in a lockbox or in some manner comes to the state of Illinois in the unclaimed property division, he has been working very hard to reunite these Purple Hearts with their owners or the relatives of those individuals that own the Purple Heart. So we want to give a shout out to Treasurer Michael Fricks for working so hard with regards to that. Believe it or not, talk about days. August 8th is National Happiness Happens Day. It was started by the Secret Society of Happy People in 1999 as Admit Your Happy Day. Eventually, it evolved into Happiness Happens Day, created to celebrate the expression of happiness, share your happiness with others, find new ways to infuse happiness into your life. So just a cute little tidbit there. John Lawson says, Mongo, go Mongo. Mongo Day, Mongo Monday. That's what I'm going to call it today. Mongo Monday. Agent Orange Awareness Day, August 10th. Our Vietnam veterans, some of whom were exposed to Agent Orange, just informing individuals that Agent Orange Awareness Day is August 10th. There is lasting damage that Agent Orange causes. In the 1960s, Americans used Agent Orange, which is a herbicide, in Vietnam to clear thick foliage from battlegrounds to eliminate the enemy's protective ground cover. However, it was very toxic, and the use of Agent Orange impacted U.S. troops, Vietnamese troops, and civilians, and it cost hundreds of thousands of lives, and survivors are still impacted today. Sally posted on Facebook, I recently was told Illinois charges the highest taxes in the U.S. Is this true? Also, why do we pay so much in federal taxes to help other states proportionate to others? Sally, thanks for the question. So it depends on what tax rate you're looking at, depends on overall taxes. So what Illinois has is when you look at the state of Illinois, just the state, Illinois has a moderate income tax at 4.95%. So roughly a nickel for every dollar is paid in Illinois income tax. And then Illinois also has sales tax. Now recall that the Illinois state is looking to remove the statewide sales tax and allow local municipalities to put in their own sales tax on groceries. So, as a state overall, um, taxes are fairly moderate. Individuals who look at gas prices, for example, when you go from different towns, different cities, from northern Illinois to southern Illinois, you'll see differences in gas prices, and some of that has to do with local taxes. So when you look at the local level of taxes combined with the state level of taxes, that's where individuals in some reports come to this tax number. Some areas have higher property taxes than others, mostly based on school districts. Some local municipalities, if you look at the taxes charged by, say, the city of Aurora on the property tax bill versus somebody that lives in the village of Oswego property tax bill, those numbers are significantly different. Oswego is lower than Aurora when you look at the property tax bill. Local governments can also impose motor fuel taxes, and so they get that as well. So when these reports compile it, they look at different factors and some of those different factors. So, for example, Indiana has a lower state income tax, but they also have county income taxes, which turn out to be higher than Illinois' income tax. Illinois does not allow income tax for counties or municipalities. So counties and municipalities only have property taxes. Other states, when you look at uh, the whole nugget, Illinois only charges sales tax on goods, not services. If you go to states like Florida, they charge tax on services as well. So if you go get your nails done, you're paying a tax. If you get your hair cut, you're paying a tax. If you get work done on your house, you're paying a tax not only on the goods, the wood, and the materials, but you're also paying tax on the services of the person actually doing the repairs on your house. So that's a sales tax formula in different states. Some states you can pay as much as $400 for your license plate for your car. Those are different charges in that state. And then you have states like Texas that has revenues from their oil generation that offsets, and they have very low taxes in Texas because of the oil fields. So every state's different, every state's unique, and every structure with regards to revenue and how to function on the state is different as well. So I just caution when you read these things that you have to drill down in the details and really look at what's going on. Now, the second thing I say is that Illinois is a very large state. It has 13 million people in it, and so it has a little bit of different dynamics. And I look at this as different, as like my family had 2 children, and then the family down the block from us had 9 children. So having a bigger family has some bigger expenses and bigger needs. And so look at the size of the state as well. And the structures, not only the structures of the tax, but also, the size of the state. So there's again different structures. But thank you, Sally, for asking that question. And Bonnie is correct. Illinois is one of the few states that does not tax retirement income. So if you are retired, your income tax is in essence zero. So that's a quick rundown of that question. So thanks for asking that. Veterans out there, the 6th annual DuPage Veterans Fair is coming up on August 21st from 9 to 1 on the first floor auditorium of the County Building on County Farm Road, 421 North County Farm Road in Wheaton. So veterans and their families are invited to come. There's a more than 80 service agencies, and you can contact Steve Fixler of the Veterans Assistance Commission. Now, if this Friday, the second Friday of every month in August, and I believe it's this Friday. Yes, because the second was the first Friday. So the 9th, this Friday, at the Aurora American Legion office on Montgomery Road, will the VA, Hines VA, and the VAC from Kane County and the VAC, I believe from DuPage County, will be in their office starting at 9 o'clock, 9 to 2. So you can come to the Aurora American Legion meeting, which starts at 8, and then at 9 you can get your anything you need, benefits or questions asked from the VA and the VACs. And that is on Montgomery Road in Aurora. So you can stop by there, and you can stop by the DuPage Veterans Resource Fair on the 21st. So a little bit of an update as well with regards to that. Now, to date, the governor has signed 174 bills, some of them mine, I'll talk about in a bit. That was 99 House bills and 75 Senate bills. A total of 295 bills remain under consideration to be signed. So right now, as I said, we are in the signing process with regards to legislation. So some of the bills that I co-sponsored a bill with my good friend, Representative Joyce Mason, House Bill 4108. This allows the Secretary of State to issue Air Force Combat Action Medal license plate to a resident who is awarded the Air Force Combat Action Medal. So we're honoring those individuals. I co-sponsored a bill with Leader Jay Hoffman. The Secretary of State issues special registration plates to designate the Defense Superior Service plates or Defense Distinguished Service plates to residents of the state. Again, that's a license plate bill. And then House Bill 5353, I co-sponsored with my friend Representative Bob Morgan, and it talks about military spouses meeting the eligibility criteria for an Illinois social worker license shall be granted temporary license to practice as a social worker or a clinical social worker while their expedited license applications are under review. We've had quite a few issues with DFPR and licensing. And so this is allowing the process of a temporary license while we are working on licensing overall. We passed a law a couple years ago that says if you're a military spouse, your license needs to be expedited. But so far there's been computer issues with the FPR. So this says that if you're a military spouse, we're going to expedite your license, but also we're going to give you a temporary one right away so you can get right to work. And that's one of the biggest things with regards to military spouses is that they move so much that it's really hard. I mean, they move every 3 years. If it takes 6 months or so to get a license, that's time that they're not working, and it's really hard on military spouses. So we're trying to do the best we can. In addition to that, I co-sponsored legislation with Representative Mary Gill, again, another great person, a good friend, that requires community college districts to accept transfer credit from a student who has completed at least 30 credit hours in a masonry program at another institution. So those are some of the bills that got signed that I was a co-sponsor on. The governor also signed the bill that bars captive audiences. What this is called the Illinois Worker Freedom of Speech Act, and it prohibits employers from holding mandatory meetings to discuss company views on religion, politics, or specifically union. Now, they can still have the meeting. They can have a voluntary meeting all they want. If people choose to show up, they can show up. But what this does is it bans forced mandatory meetings that if an individual leaves, they could be have retribution on it. So you cannot now pretty much have any action against a worker who wants to leave a meeting because they're talking about politics, religion, or specifically unions. So definitely a half a dozen states, including Connecticut, Minnesota, and Washington, have made it illegal for employers to mandate attendance for these types of meetings. And altogether, about 18 states have either passed or considered such legislation. So certainly the new law is going to make a difference to allow people the freedoms to listen to non-work related information if they choose to or not. That's what it's about. And it's freedom of speech and allows the workers the freedom to attend meetings that they so choose that is not related at all to their work. So we're looking at also a bill got signed into law to regulate insurance plans that require to cover midwife services next year. So it expands insurance coverage during and after pregnancy with the goal of lowering infant and mortality rates, maternal mortality rates, especially in Black and Brown populations. So the law requires insurers to provide state-regulated healthcare plans to cover pregnancy and postpartum services for covered individuals, includes midwife services, doula visits, lactation consultants for up to 12 months after the end of pregnancy. Licensed or certified midwives will need to be covered by insurance providers starting in 2025. All other outline services by January 2026. We also put in a 1115 waiver for Medicaid. It took effect earlier this month to cover more services, allow such things as housing, food, and nutrition services, violence intervention services to be reimbursed by the healthcare program that covers low-income individuals and is jointly funded by the state and the federal governments. So federal approval means there'll be more matching funds from Washington that will now be available for the programs in Illinois. So the 5-year waiver is part of, as you would know, federal rules that allow states to really increase their Medicaid programs or to look at new programs and delivery methods. So I believe that this is going to be really important. Housing, food insecurity, nutritional services, and violence intervention services. Violence is really a public health issue. Took effect earlier this month. So we're pretty happy with regards to that. And then expanding reproductive health care. The Birth Equity Act will require Illinois-based health insurance to cover the full spectrum of women's reproductive health care without copays or deductible, including coverages of family planning as well. It also, again, coverages doulas, lactation consultants, midwives, along with a diaper distribution program for low-income families. So, as many people know, Roe v. Wade was reversed and took the reproductive health from the federal level, overall uniform, to the state's level, not uniform. Illinois is one of the states that provide the full range of reproductive health care measures with regards to individuals in Illinois. So we have seen individuals come from Illinois and other states here, traveling from states that have banned some segments of reproductive health care for women. In Illinois, we took it one step further to make sure that women get all the healthcare options that they need, and every single healthcare option with regards to reproductive health. So, very excited about that. And then carbon capture. So carbon capture and sequestration, it's a technology that is really exciting with regards to the environmental sphere. Carbon capture, really, the CO2 byproduct is created by things like ethanol. And then the CO2 is then converted into a pressurized liquid form and is sent through a pipeline to a sequestration well far underground. So we passed that. We're looking at the industry. We have some incentives for it. It is really state-of-the-art technology and looking to remove the carbon from our from the atmosphere. So really, if we want to be carbon free, we got to look forward to. So we are still working for it. We have a 2-year pause on it, looking at federal pipeline and all these other issues before it comes online. But certainly we have a bill with regards to that and looking with regards to carbon capture and sequestration. So that's important. A couple advisory questions on the ballot. Well, you will see back in November, and early voting that starts obviously earlier than that. 3 just advisory questions. Election Worker Protection and Candidate Accountability Referendum Act. Should any candidate appearing on the Illinois ballot for federal, state, or local office be subject to civil penalties if the candidate interferes or attempts to interfere with an election worker's official duties? Right now, many election officials are changing the way they are doing things, unfortunately, because of really because of people being violent towards election workers. They're volunteering their time, they're getting a small amount of money for their help with elections. And so now they are changing, like they won't have name badges anymore. They'll have a unique identification number and various different things. It's just really sad, the discourse. But so that's advisory question number one. Of course, advisory question number two, Property Tax Relief and Fairness Referendum Act. Should the Illinois Constitution be amended to create an additional 3% tax on incomes greater than $1 million for the purpose of dedicating funds raised to property tax relief? So we do have, again, as I talked about before, when Sally talked about, we do have high property taxes. And when you look at the nation, there are some states that don't have property taxes. There are some states that do. States have very high sales taxes. We only have like 26 different things that have sales tax. So it's a big mix, but we do have high property taxes, and the high property taxes go directly to your local city and school district. School districts raise property taxes by referendum. The city, depending on its size, raises property taxes either by referendum or by the vote of the city council. So looking at property tax is not based on the ability to pay. It does hit individuals a lot harder. According to the recent data, Illinois has about 77,000 millionaires whose annual returns are about $626 billion. So that's just an advisory question, number two. Number three, Assisted Reproductive Health Referendum Act. Should all medically appropriate assisted reproductive treatments, including but not limited to in vitro fertilization, be covered by any health insurance plan in Illinois that provides coverage for pregnancy benefits without limitation on the number of treatments? So this is one of the things where insurance companies are limiting the amount of treatments, specifically with in vitro and some of these other processes. So those are the three advisory referendum questions that will be on your ballot. The Illinois Healthcare License Committee held subject matter hearings and held from proponents and opponents of allowing pharmacists to test and treat patients. Certain conditions without a physician's approval. There was a provision that was in a budget package that had not previously been approved by the committee that allows pharmacists to test and treat certain conditions without a physician's approval. So they are looking at regards to that. Healthcare, affordability, availability, and accessibility, holding a series of subject matter hearings on pharmacy benefit managers. So this is a big issue. It's been an issue for several years. They have these PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers, that really charge so much that some of the independent pharmacies have to take a loss when they're distributing some of these pharmaceuticals. So definitely they are discussing a preliminary report issued by the Federal Trade Commission, and they have another hearing in September, and then the Senate had a Transportation Committee hearing. So throughout the summer, committee meetings are still happening. The Supreme Court amends some of the rules addressing harassment and discrimination. So talks about lawyer misconduct, which some of these. So the Supreme Court really does have the overview of the court system. So proved misconduct is now what a lawyer knows or reasonably should know is harassment, discrimination, and discrimination harassment has been added to the rule. No longer a requirement of the final and enforceable finding by the court or agency before charges of professional misconduct can be brought. So some changes there in the court system. And then finally, just going to let you know, quantum development. You might have seen this story on WSPY. Illinois Quantum and Microelectronics Park, which will occupy part of a 400-acre campus in the former U.S. Steel Southworks facility in Chicago. So Governor Pritzker announced the development of this 128-acre Illinois Quantum and Microelectronics Park at the former U.S. Steel site. The campus is anchored by Psi Quantum, a Palo Alto, California-based company, which announced plans Thursday morning to build the nation's first commercially useful quantum computer on the site. So it'll have about a 20 billion, that's what it be, $1 billion in economic impact over the next decade and create thousands of jobs in quantum computing. So certainly we're very excited about that. Um, every computer runs with computers and quantum computers, and it's very exciting. We are leading the nation with regards to that. And then United Airlines is the first airline to purchase sustainable aviation fuel for O'Hare International Airport. So United became the first airline to purchase sustainable aviation fuel to use at O'Hare Airport. And definitely Illinois did put into effect some tax credits to bring about the sustainable aviation fuel to one of the largest airports in the U.S. Sustainable aviation fuel producer Neste will provide up to 1 million gallons of Neste My Sustainable Fuel Aviation Fuel to United in 2024, with its first supply arriving August 3rd, a couple days ago. So they have a goal. United has a goal of reaching net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050 without relying on voluntary carbon offsets, and is the industry leader in the purchase and use of sustainable aviation fuel. They bought more sustainable fuel than any U.S. airline in 2023, and the agreement with Neste makes O'Hare the fifth largest airport where the United has purchased sustainable airline aviation fuel for operational use among the most locations in the U.S. So again, we are leading the way. This alternative to conventional jet fuel can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 85% in the life cycle basis from production to end use because it is made from renewable materials rather than drilled fossil oil. So this is the best, most scalable option to push the industry toward net zero emissions, in part because it can be used right now with existing infrastructure. No changes in the fuel systems or the aircraft engines are required, which is really cool. United has now purchased sustainable aviation fuel from airports in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, London, and Amsterdam. And so that's really exciting. So other than that, the US EPA has awarded Illinois $430 million to curb greenhouse gas emissions by electrifying vehicles, accelerating clean energy, workforce training, and retrofitting building. So again, that working with the federal government is so really important with regards to Illinois and just being able to achieve really great things. So we're gonna retrofit buildings and electrify the state's transportation, and really doing a great job. And then, so finally, just looking at some other items here really quick. Again, we already talked about veteran suicide, but talking about the EPA. So we're going to get a new EPA director. I might have said this before. John Kim, the director of the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, announced that he is retiring from the agency. He's been there since 1994, and he has been in the leadership program as director since 2019. The current deputy director, James Jennings, is going to serve as the interim director. And then DCEO announced a pre-apprenticeship program. The Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity announced $18 million in funding for the fourth round of the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program. So this provides training opportunities and boosts diversity in the construction industry and building trades. So, and then the Illinois EPA approved $43 million in principal forgiveness loans for individual communities to replace lead service lines. So none of the communities will have to repay any of the funds awarded, 17 of these communities. And then they also approved no interest loans to replace lead service lines to communities of Brookfield, Lincolnwood, Elgin, Batavia, Waukegan, and Rockford. So other than that, I'm sad to announce that RibFest will no longer happen. It was for decades in Naperville. RibFest had been really quite the thing to look forward to. It was in Naperville, and then the pandemic hit, paused it. Then Ribfest moved to the DuPage County Fairgrounds in Wheaton. But now the organizers say the festival is officially over. Ribfest was an initiative of the Exchange Club of Naperville. They had organized a long time summer tradition. And on Wednesday, Emmy Trotz, the leader of the civic group, confirmed the club itself is disbanding. The organization, the Exchange Club of Naperville, was formed in 1987. The first Ribfest was held the following year. Trotz hopes the people gather together in the future to be able to give back to the community like they did. So for decades, Ribfest reigned over the summer festival season with trophy women barbecue, star-studded concerts like they had Aerosmith, Hootie and the Blowfish. They had a grand finale, fireworks over Naperville's Knock Park, and the Ribfest campus was like a city within a city, relying on an army of volunteers. However, the lease expired in Naperville, and the organizers were left looking for a new location. COVID then dealt a blow to the festival, forcing a 2-year break. The organizers they brought back a scaled back version of the festival in 2022 at a new venue, the DuPage County Fairgrounds in Wheaton, over the Father's Day weekend. Last year, organizers changed dates again, hosting a 3-day festival in September at the fairgrounds. But in June, the club president, Trotz, said that they would not be hosting Ribfest this year and added that she needed to talk to her board before commenting about the future of the event. The costs of the event were very high, and they were not able to generate enough income to be profitable. So it was not really one season, but no one reason, a mixture of several reasons, and COVID didn't help. So the cost of putting on the event was greater than the amount needed to cover the expenses, and there really wasn't much left over for charitable donations, which is what they initially did Ribfest for. For the last 35 years, the Exchange Club of Naperville has raised more than 22 million, largely due to the Ribfest success, for the prevention of child abuse and domestic violence. The club is given to over 75 local agencies. So we wish them the best. The Exchange Club has a charter with a national organization, which might be able to be transferred or given to another club or sold to another club that would like to buy it. So said Tom Springer, the attorney for the Exchange Club. So we'd like to thank everybody for all their hard work, and it's sad that the club is dissolving after all these years of doing such a great time. So, with that, I will wrap it up with the Shed Aquarium. Welcomes the first baby beluga whale since 2020. We're going to end on a high note there. There's a new calf in town, and it is a beluga whale calf. So, Naya, the 35-year-old beluga whale at the Shed Aquarium, gave birth Wednesday evening. The calf was born after 6 p.m. and took its first breath of air at the water surface just after that. The breath of air is, of course, a sign of good health as people watch the calf early moments. Just like a new baby, that first breath is so important. And it is the first one, as I said, since 2020. The unnamed calf right now, no names yet, is healthy, showing signs of bonding with the mother. The Shed Aquarium said the calf, whose sex and paternity hasn't quite been confirmed, is about 5 feet long and 105 pounds, strong and spirited, says the aquarium's chief animal conservation officer. If the calf tries to swim away from the mother, she makes sure it stays close. And like many mothers, you got to keep the babies close. So after the calf starts feeling more comfortable with Mother Naya and they develop their bond properly, they will join the rest of the pod of belugas at the aquarium. When that will happen depends on the calf's development and personality. It could be anywhere from a few months to a year from now. Beluga whale births are rarely seen in the wild, and observers of Naya and her calf will support research of the species. Neonatal development of the belugas can indicate the effects of pollution, noise, and human activity on the species as well. So the aquarium's secluded bay habitat will be closed to the public while the calf is under observation. And not quite sure when he's going to make his public debut, but or her, he or she. But looking forward to seeing the new beluga whale. So with that, I have to go attend the conference and participate in some sessions this afternoon. So I hope that you have a wonderful Monday and a great week. And again, if you need anything, just reach out to my office and or send an email. And I'm still checking emails at the conference, and I will be back in a couple days. So take care, everybody. And again, for those of you that were wondering, the wedding, believe it or not, a little bit of hiccups, but it went off well. My daughter married her friend from high school, and they went to high school together, and then they didn't see each other for a couple of years, and then reconnected, and then that's how the story goes. So, take care, everybody. Have again a great Monday. COVID is still out there, so be careful and be safe and enjoy pretty much the last couple weeks of the summer. So have a great one, guys.